Hello and welcome to UC Davis Neurology Training Program. My name is Sasha Duffy and I am the Program Director. It is my privilege to be the voice and advocate for our residents while training the next generation neurologists. We have an incredibly bright and talented group of residents that we get to train and work alongside. We invite you to meet several of those residents today during our video, so we thank you for taking the time to join us.
When I came here for my interview day, I really felt a good sense of collegiality between the residents and the faculty. I felt like everyone was approachable and that I could ask questions and feel really comfortable with that, which I think is really important for learning. Another reason is the large catchment area here at UC Davis. We cover from the southern Oregon border all the way to Nevada and down into the San Joaquin Valley. So I knew that I'd be getting a large diversity of cases, which I think is really good to see lots of different patients and get as much experience as possible in residency. And then lastly, the Sacramento area. I knew that this area, in visiting it, it was a nice place to live, very easy daily life. I could bike commute if I needed to. And I would be able to experience all of California from the Bay Area to the mountains and have a lot of things to do in my free time, which I think is really good for a good life balance.
I loved UC Davis from the first time I got here for my interview. As a candidate from Florida, I really didn't have any ties to California, but I loved the program. Selected to interview here, and when I did, the faculty just set such a lasting impression on me. One of the things that I remember the most was the interviews that I had with Dr. Duffy and the several other faculty members I interviewed with. It was kind of an impression that I kept with me as I went through interviews, and something that I found unmatched. The atmosphere here is very collegial. You feel very comfortable asking the faculty questions without fear of looking silly, and as a result, I think I learn a whole lot better.
Sure. Our education really focuses early on the neurologic exam. We focus teaching the neurologic exam and then use simulation labs with our faculty. We have a variety of courses and series to teach neuroanatomy, and each week at Morning Report we do localization and differential building with a core clinical faculty as well. Throughout residency, our residents become educators themselves, teaching at journal clubs, teaching at case conferences, and then at grand rounds for the department when they become a senior resident. Our residents teach and share their work, their research work, with our faculty mentors at national and international conferences with the support from our faculty.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, absolutely. On the macro scale within the UC Davis family, we work closely with the emergency room doctors, we work closely with neurosurgeons, we work closely with our neurocritical care colleagues, and we really develop a close relationship. We all go by our first names, really, so it's a nice collaborative environment. Within neurology itself, we have different services, consults, wards, peds, and we actually all interact with each other, asking each other questions. I remember last year asking my ward senior just a quick curbside, and they were always receptive. And then additionally, we also work closely with our occupational therapists, our physical therapists, our stroke coordinators, which are essential to providing our excellent care to our stroke patients, as well as our discharge planners. So we use all these facets of UC Davis community providing the best care. So the answer is yes.
The education chief and I had completely redesigned how we educate our house staff on the fundamentals of clinical neuroanatomy and basic neurosciences, where we've now developed a two-part series that really highlights the key aspects of neuroanatomy, both for clinicians and scientists, as well as incorporating the key elements of basic neuroscience as clinician educators for the future, and to incorporate that in their clinical practices as well.
I can't stress enough how much I just love living in the city of Sacramento. I'm from California. I remember never really giving Sacramento a second thought growing up, but I was completely wrong. I think the first chief most thing, the food here is incredible. I know they rebranded to being the farm to fork capital to try to highlight how good the food scene is, but really You have so many diverse foods, so many local mom and pop things, and restaurants that have such a great community of people who are there late night, have live shows, and big outdoor seating venues. Even in the time of COVID, the food scene has come together to have entire blocks of just outdoor alfresco dining to still accommodate this kind of eating out culture that Sacramento has. Beyond that, the city itself has such an incredible community where they just love coming together. It's a really young city, and in better times, we constantly have festivals, street art. We have First Fridays where they have art sales. We have concerts in the park. There's just almost every week between either music, art, antique swap meets. There's just always something to do in Sacramento, which I think is really important when you're at a residency program, to live in a city that you just love, and you can know that you can just step right outside after a hard day and just get a nice late night coffee, or go to a movie, or see a show that's just spontaneously playing out on someone's porch. These things happen in Sacramento, and that's incredible.